it's Corrina, your virtual health coach, and today I want to share with you some of the exercises and stretches that I do on pretty much a daily basis to relieve back pain when I'm experiencing it, and also to help prevent future back pain. So I hope that you will follow along with me here today in this video. I'm also going to share a couple of tips and tricks to help you relieve that back pain once and for all. So probably the number one cause of back pain is poor posture. So creating a good posture habit is probably the best thing that we can do to help prevent back pain. So my sponsor in this video is Upright, and this is a wearable tech device that actually trains you to improve your posture. And I'm going to show you how this works a little bit later on in the video. But the bottom line here is that you need to pay attention to your posture and check on yourself right now. Are you slouching? Are you sitting up straight? So one thing I've done at work is actually putting little sticky notes on my computer monitor or just on my refrigerator to help remind me to pay attention to my posture. You also might have a friend or coworker nearby, and y'all can actually remind each other, be accountability buddies for each other's posture. Again, I'm going to show you how this works a little bit later on, but the first tip here is trying to improve our posture and create that good posture habit. So what is good posture in the first place? Our first little exercise is just going to be coming in and out of ideal posture. So ideal posture is going to be having your legs at approximately a 90-degree angle. Your feet should be touching the floor, and if they don't touch the floor, grab a box or a step or something so that you can be firmly grounded through your feet while you're sitting. You also want to pay attention to the placement of your ankles. Again, we're kind of aiming for 90 degrees here. The main thing is just not to pull your ankles back underneath your knees. So either keep them slightly in front of or directly underneath. Your spine should be pulling up straight. Now, the spine in its natural position actually has a bit of an S curve. So it's not like your spine is literally a straight line vertically. But sitting up straight, you can think about pulling your shoulders back. You can think about pulling your head up so it's in line with your shoulders as opposed to craning out forward, right? And just think about kind of even engaging the core muscles as you sit here. Part of what really helps to improve your posture is actually strengthening the core. So not only the back muscles, but also those core muscles, because that's what helps hold you up. So let's just a couple of times move from this poor posture, slouched posture where most of us are sitting for a lot of the time, right? And then pulling back into ideal posture. And then, you can even kind of accentuate it a little bit, right? Because it really helps you to feel how different it is when you're sitting up straight and pulling those shoulders back. So as you're sitting in this upright posture, you may find that your low back actually starts to get really tired. So part of what we're going to do in this video is strengthening the posterior chain, strengthening those back muscles so that this becomes actually the easier way to sit as opposed to slouching. So I want to show you how the upright works, but I want to give you a couple of little stretches you can do while I'm doing that. So the next thing we want to address is in the upper part of our back, thinking about pulling the shoulder blades back. So again, that forward posture actually ends up with our shoulder blades curling forward. So what we want to do is actually practice pulling the shoulder blades back. So I just like to take my arms kind of out to the side here, elbows are pointing down, and just feel this motion and really warm up those shoulder blades, all right, the scapulas. And I'm going to turn around here so you can see, just pulling my shoulder blades towards each other. This is kind of similar to a move you might do in the gym, right? But doing it without weight, we're just kind of stretching and warming this area up. You can also do the move with your arms like this and get even more of that motion, now almost like thinking of pulling the elbows toward one another. So continue with these types of movements, really warming up the shoulders. And if you need to take a break for a minute and kind of shake your arms out, that's fine. We want to create some heat in the upper part of the back. So while you're doing that, let me show you how the upright works and why this is such a cool device. So essentially, this is a wearable tech device. So what that means is that we actually wear the upright, and I want to pull it out of the box here so you can see it comes on this cute little stand. And so this is how you would charge it. You just plug it into a computer or USB power outlet. So the upright just sits on the charging station on those two little pegs, just like that. And then it actually connects to an app in your phone. So I can start by holding the on button here, and the upright kind of will vibrate a little bit and turn on with a blue light. And then when I open up the upright app on my phone, alrighty, so now I'm on my dashboard here and you can see my 2 training days that I've done so far. So at this point, the items are connected, and then we're gonna stick the upright to our back. So it comes with an entire pack, a whole bunch of these little Velcro stickers. So essentially what you do is you attach the little stickum to the Velcro on the back of the upright. Very, very simple. Press that on there, and then you remove the sticky backing. So now the upright is ready to stick onto your back. So you can use the upright when you're sitting, standing on your upper back or lower back. I have been using it right here about in my low back. So then just sticking it on. So at this point, I click Start Training, and it's going to ask me to calibrate the upright. So essentially what I will do here, it says to sit upright, stay still, and you click this little button that says I'm upright. You get a little buzz, and then you sit slouched. So now I'm showing the upright what it's like when I'm slouched, and wait for the buzz. All right, so now I'm in the training, and you can see it's actually counting me down here, and it's actually gonna tell me. So as I'm sitting here at work or doing whatever, and I start to slouch, it starts vibrating and reminds me to sit back up straight. And it actually even corresponds on the app and kind of shows you. So if I slouch again, you get a little sad face, and it's buzzing. It's a very gentle buzz, and then there actually is a little sensitivity thing in there where you can even make it vibrate more or less if you want to. So there you have it, and you can see how this serves as a little reminder to pay attention to your posture. And then it encourages you to start with just 5 minutes a day and then work your way up, tracks your progress. And I have to say, just after a couple days of using this, I'm definitely more conscious of my posture than I was before I started using it. So it's definitely helping me out in that area. So hopefully you're feeling some warmth in your upper back from doing those little shoulder stretches. Now we're going to look at the mobility of the shoulder even more. So lifting your arms up into kind of a goalpost shape. Now again, you can kind of notice that it's sometimes easier to have them a little farther forward, but can also work towards pulling them back. So now what we want to do is actually lift the arms all the way up. So as you're doing this motion, if this already feels painful or feels difficult, then this is a really good place to start. And maybe 2 or 3 of them is enough. But each time you come back to this video, you should find you can do them a little bit longer. This is a really good exercise for building that strength in the upper back that we're going to need. And then again, as you kind of experiment with pulling the arms farther and farther back, you get even a different stretch, now kind of more into those pectoral muscles as you do these simple little movements. And this is also going to be part of an exercise that we can do on the wall and on the floor. But just starting from our seat, kind of in free space, is a really good place to start seeing what kind of mobility you have in your shoulders. So now we're actually going to stand up and you're going to need a wall. So let's talk about posture when we're standing up. So first thing we can think about is trying to be even on our hips. One of the most common things is that we start to kind of slouch to one side, right? Putting our weight in one foot. Now, I was really insecure about my height when I was younger, so I would I would find myself standing in all kind of weird, awkward positions, trying to not be so tall. But that's the opposite of what we want, right? We want a long, tall spine. So thinking about keeping the hips even and facing forward, trying to avoid having one hip above the other or putting more weight into one foot than the other. So we can really kind of think about balancing our weight evenly between each foot. Your feet should face forward. Now, a whole other topic for a whole other video would be addressing having feet that either splay out or that splay inward. But just understand that ideal posture is going to be your feet really at parallel, coming right out under your hips. At our knees, you do want to have your knees straight, but not locked. When you lock out your knees, you're actually putting yourself at greater risk of injury. So keeping kind of a gentle bend in the knees so they're not locked out. Then if you kind of step back toward a wall, so here, I've even pulled my hair to the side so that you can actually see my neck and see my back. So with our glutes pushed towards the wall, you can actually see that S curve in the spine. So there should naturally be some space between your low back and the wall, right? Then from there, your shoulder blades in the back should touch the wall. And I can also pull my head so that the occiput, or that little ridge right at the back of the head, is also pressing towards the wall. From here, I start to become really aware of how far forward my shoulders are. So check in with yourself. How far from the wall are your shoulders? And again, like we did in the chair, we can just practice moving from our normal posture, which could be like this, or slouch forward, and then pulling back into that kind of ideal posture, pulling our shoulders back towards the wall. And this is not an easy thing to do, especially if you have some postural issues that have been going on for a long time. So the next exercise we're going to do is actually isolating in the neck. So as you're standing in this posture, again, kind of staying aware of how far is your neck craning out when you're in your relaxed position. And then this is what we can call a neck retraction. So essentially what we're doing is holding the head kind of neutrally, and then this little micro movement, pulling the head back. So what we're doing is activating these little muscles along the back of the head and really thinking about pulling the ear so it's in line with the shoulder. And we're just going to do this a couple of times. When you relax, just move to a neutral position. You don't want to crane your head forward. But here we're just kind of starting to, become familiar with those muscles in the back of the neck and how it feels to kind of pull the neck back and even kind of tuck the chin slightly. So these little neck retractions, you may start feeling those muscles, especially if you spend a lot of time with your head looking down at a cell phone or craning forward at a computer screen. These little tiny neck retractions can actually be kind of difficult. So now let's come back into those shoulder movements that we were doing from our seat. So again, we can kind of use the wall here to just kind of be our indicator. How much mobility and openness do we have in the shoulders and in the pectoral muscles? So lifting into that goalpost kind of position again, we can just start to observe how far are our shoulders from the wall? How far are our wrists from the wall? The more constriction that you have in the pectoral muscles, you'll find that the arms come forward, or maybe that they touch here, but then the wrists won't go back, right? But this is what we're working toward. And just holding this pose for a minute, you will feel your back muscles working. And then we can relax into that neutral posture. And then pulling the arms up again. Really feeling that mobility in the scapulas or shoulder blades as we transition from our relaxed posture into the stretch. Now, there is an exercise called wall angels or floor angels, which is actually kind of doing that full motion like we did in the chair. Now, that's a kind of advanced pose, so I'm actually going to link to another video in the description of this one where there is a massage therapist that actually breaks down that exercise piece by piece. But here we're just kind of starting this little movement. So now the next thing we're gonna do is another stretch to really target these pectoral muscles and help to open them up and stretch them. So what you're gonna do is come to your wall. We're gonna start with the arm down low. So about at a 45-degree angle with the body. So placing the hand on the wall and having your body kind of straight out toward the wall, we can then rotate our body outward. So we're creating this long stretch across the arm. You don't want to bend your elbow. You want to think about keeping that arm straight. And then just rotating the body to get a stretch right here. And just breathe into it. Also feel this nice stretch along the back part of the scapula. We'll see when we do the other side. Then we're going to come out. We're going to move the arm up so it's about level with the shoulder blade. Looks maybe a little bit lower than my shoulder, about neutral position. And same thing, turning the body out, getting this really nice long stretch. Here we're not only stretching the pectoral muscle, but we're also actually stretching those inner muscles on the inside of the arm. So that feels really nice. Breathing into it. Anytime you're doing stretching videos, it's okay to feel that slight discomfort or almost burn. It feels really good to breathe into it. But if you ever feel a sharp pain or really strong discomfort, come out of it. You never want to push your body. Another really important tip for back pain is just listening to your body and being really aware, not doing things that cause you pain or cause discomfort, right? This last stretch is going to be lifting the arm up overhead and again, rotating the body out. So I have a lot less rotation I can do in this stretch, right? We're stretching a different part of this muscle. Breathing, keeping the arm straight. And shake that out. So then coming to the other side, we're going to start with that low stretch. Again, my body is kind of square against the wall, and then I just rotate my body out to the side until I start feeling that nice stretch across the pec and across the arm. The interesting thing about the shoulders is that skeletally, they're not actually attached, or the arms are not actually attached to the arms. So we just have all of this musculature, moving the arm up here. And again, you can kind of see on my back how this gets also this nice little stretch into the scapula there. So it's all just musculature that keeps our arms attached onto our body. Gives us all of the mobility that we need in our arms, which is fantastic. But it also means that shoulder injury, shoulder issues can really be quite common. So we really have to be careful with our shoulders. And the more that we do stretches and exercises to build that mobility in the upper back, it's going to be a really, really valuable thing to do. Okay. Starting to feel a little bit of tingle even in my fingers from that stretch. So really shake it out. After doing those stretches, I also find it can be nice to just give myself a big hug, always kind of doing the counter movement to whatever stretch we've just done. So while we're talking about the upper back and shoulders, I want to show you this compression shoulder strap. So if you do end up with an injury of the shoulder, or even just having pain there, I encourage you to not just let it go and hope it gets better, because chances are the movements and postures that you do all the time are actually what caused that issue in the first place, all right? So I just want to show you this little band. This is also an in-part sponsor of this video. This is by Yosoo. So essentially, we create the little arm strap, pull the strap on, and then it loops around underneath the body, and you can use this little Velcro to make it as tight as you would like it. So a little strap like this offers some compression, right? Giving a little bit of pressure on the shoulder. If you're using a pain relief gel or something, you can even put that underneath it. This is also just gonna help to remind you not to be lifting your shoulder and doing all kinds of stuff. For athletes when they're training or something like that, using a strap that helps to remind you, hey, you have an injury here, don't overstress yourself, can be really, really valuable. So this one's really soft, really comfy. Again, it's got all this adjustable straps and Velcro, and it's a little bit stretchy as well. So this is a really nice little tool to have if you do sustain some kind of a shoulder injury. So moving down the body, thinking about low back pain. Low back pain can result from a combination of issues. One of the common things we think about is tightness in the hamstrings or the back of the legs. But another factor is actually tightness in those front hip flexors. So while we're standing here, the next thing we're going to do is actually stretch out our front hip flexors. So using the wall for support, you want to root really strongly through your left foot, putting your weight into that foot and lifting up the right. So then I'm going to take my foot and the back of my hand here and just kind of pull my heel toward my glute. And in this way, then this really nice stretch across the front hip flexor. So as you're doing this, you don't want to think about pulling the leg back really strongly. Think about kind of keeping those hips square. Again, try not to pull this hip too far back, and really just engaging this stretch across that front hip flexor and quad. All right, and let that go. Shake your leg out a little bit. Then we're going to turn around and do the other side. Doing lunges will also be a really great way to stretch that out, but this is a great kind of gentle way to stretch out the quads. Super easy way. So now we're going to move down to the floor for just a couple more little exercises. One of my favorite stretches for back pain is child's pose, which you may know if you ever do yoga. So you can do child's pose in two different ways. I like to do it with my legs spread apart. And then you just walk down. And you really want to think about dropping your tailbone down toward your heels. So if you're really tight, you may find that you're right here in a child's pose, and that's okay. And you just kind of want to think about letting your glutes drift towards your heels. And I can even spread a little bit farther out here to really get a nice stretch. So in child's pose, this is a great way to lengthen the spine, get a really nice stretch in the upper back. But we're also stretching the hip flexors again, stretching the legs. Another variation of child's pose would be to keep your legs together and then fold over. Again, it's all about finding what really feels good for you and knowing that what feels good for someone else may not feel good for you. So you really want to listen to your body. In this position, I even feel a great stretch down into my glutes, into my low back. So using child's pose is definitely something that I find myself doing a lot. So now from here, we're going to walk down and actually lay flat on the floor or yoga mat if you have one. So laying flat, what we're going to do is start strengthening and isolating these muscles in the low back. So what you can do is kind of rest down and then think about lifting your upper body up with just your back muscles. So not using my hands. I'm gonna just pull up. You feel that muscle engage in the low back here and relax it. Pulling up again. And relaxing. You should definitely be feeling that here. So taking a deep breath, kind of activating the ab muscles that also help to pull you up. And remember, you're relaxing your hands down. You're not using your arms to hold you up. Using your back and down. Doing this one more time. And down. And then I find it's really nice to balance out that curvature of the spine upwards with another child's pose. As you breathe in your child's pose, you can reach your arms out further, getting this really nice stretch across the back. And relax. So there you have it. Those are just a couple of the stretches and exercises that I like to do on a regular basis. I want to thank Upright for sponsoring this video. Again, this is a really cool little device to help train you in your posture. So I hope that you will check it out. There's also a coupon code available in the description of this video. If you would like to learn more about me and my health coaching practice, you can visit me at CorrinaRachel.com. I really hope that you will subscribe to this channel and leave me your feedback. Let me know if there are other types of videos you'd like to see. And if you liked this video, I encourage you to check out the related videos in the description. We have a lot of back pain yoga, back pain stretches, and other types of videos that I really hope will be helpful for you in getting rid of that back pain. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.